Hello, it's Mr. Miller, and this is time for video 6D. In this video, we're going to solve some absolute value equations. All right, so we got a few examples, and they start from the easiest and work our way towards a little bit more complicated ones. So here's an absolute value equation. It's an absolute value equation because it has an absolute value in it. We got to remember what absolute value means. So this equation says the absolute value of m is equal to 3. So remember, absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. So if the absolute value of a number is 3, it could either be negative 3 or positive 3. So whatever this is, it's 3 units from the origin. Okay, so absolute value equations usually lead to two regular equations. The first one is that m is equal to 3. That's one possibility. The other is m is equal to negative 3. These are the two numbers with absolute value equal to 3. And this one, there's nothing else to do. That's the solution. All right, so m equals 3 or m equals negative 3. So this one, absolute value of n equals 5. So we got to think, what numbers have absolute value 5? Well, negative 5 does, and positive 5. Those are both 5 units from 0. So the solutions to this one would be n equals 5 or n equals negative 5. Okay. Let's move on to a little bit more complicated ones. This has something inside the absolute value. But we got to think a plus 2 is just a number. Whatever that number is, its absolute value is 5. It means it's 5 from 0. So it can either be negative 5 or positive 5. So this gives us two equations. A plus 2 could be 5, or a plus 2 could be negative 5. We just have to solve them both. So on this one, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, and we get a equals 3. That's one solution. On this one, when we subtract 2 from both sides, we get a equals negative 7. That's a second solution. Sometimes we might list these as a set. The two solutions to this equation are 3 and negative 7. All right, two numbers satisfy it. Well, this is the same thing. Absolute value of 10v minus 8 is 88. So there's two things that 10v minus 8 could be. Either 10v minus 8 is equal to 88, or 10v minus 8 could be negative 88. Okay, so once we have our two possibilities and two equations, we just solve them. We're going to add 8 to both sides, and we get 10v is equal to 96. If I divide by 10, I get v is 9.6 for this one. Over here, if I add 8, we get 10v is negative 80 if I add 8. If I divide by 10, I get v equals negative 8. So those are the two solutions. So I'll do like I did in the other one. I'll express my solution with set notation. 9.6 and negative 8. Those are the two solutions. Okay. This one is kind of a special case here. Whoops. This one's a special case here. Gotta be on the lookout. This says the absolute value of r minus 9 is negative 21. You have to remember that absolute value can never be negative. Don't fall for this. It's easy to start solving this, but absolute value can't be negative, so there's no solution to this one. So don't fall for that. You gotta be on the alert. If you ever get absolute value equal to a negative number, that's nonsense. All right, absolute value of b plus 8 equals 0. Well, there's only one number with absolute value of 0. So that means b plus 8 has to equal 0. There's only one solution this time. If I subtract 8 on both sides, I get b equals negative 8. I could use set notation for that one also. It's just a set containing one number, negative 8. All right, we have just two more examples. Now, sometimes we have to solve for the absolute value expression. In order to solve like we just did the previous ones, we have to get this by itself. So I'm going to subtract 8 on both sides, get rid of the neighboring term. Get 2 absolute value of v plus 3 is equal to, I gotta subtract 8 on that side, 2. That would be 14. And now I'm going to get rid of the 2. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And we get the absolute value of v plus 3 is equal to 7. Now we can start solving this. We can use the absolute value, or the concept of absolute value. If the absolute value of this is equal to 7, that means two things. V plus 3 could equal 7, or maybe v plus 3 is negative 7. Either way, its absolute value would be 7. So let's subtract 3 on both sides, and we get v equals 4. That's one solution. If I subtract 3 on both sides here, I get v equals negative 10. Those are the two solutions to that one. All right, let's try this one. To get the absolute value term by itself, I have to add 8 on both sides. And so we get absolute value of x plus 5 is equal to 4. Now this is ready to solve. I have the absolute value isolated. So x plus 5 could equal 4. Or x plus 5 could equal negative 4. Okay, subtract 5. We get x equals negative 1. That's one solution. And over here, if we subtract 5, we get x equals negative 9. That's our second solution. So two solutions. Either x is negative 1 or x is negative 9. All right, that was real quick, but that's what you need to know for solving absolute value equations. So here's a few. Go ahead and give them a try. Show your teacher you know how to do it. Take care.